So today is September 13th. It's about 7:15 in the morning. I'm out here between, I know Siberia's there, Amboy's down that way. I forget what the control point that's actually here. There's a crossing right here too for the into the Mojave National Preserve or something like that. And as normally the case, I'm next to train tracks, and there is another train coming, but the sub is pretty busy today, so I'm just going to do this between trains as much as possible. I came out here to do a sunrise photo for a weekly photo challenge that I've been doing with Lindsay. I'm wearing a jacket, and it's September. It's getting hot now, but it was kind of cold last night, but it was only like 65, so not really too sure about that. I've been a little bad, again, about doing this, but I find when I get far away from everything, out to a place like this, where no one's around, it's a lot easier to do this. I know that one of the things that I found over the last, a couple months is that I've been playing a lot more video games, and that's been a distraction for myself from dealing or thinking about all the things that are going on that may hurt in some way, or just maybe not the most pleasant thing to deal with. A lot of times I'll stop, take a break, and find that while I'm eating or something, all these feelings just rush in, and it just sucks. And then a lot of times I'll go back to playing a game after I eat. Just not, maybe it's partially intentionally, just to like take my mind off of it for a little while. I'm gonna pause since there's an eastbound coming, but I'll be back in a minute. Okay, the train's mostly passed. Hopefully there isn't too much background noise right now. Looks clear both ways otherwise. So one of the things that I've kind of been dealing, or that has been on my mind that I've kind of been avoiding, at least the last few days or so, has been my birthday, which is tomorrow. I've always kind of had this love-hate relationship with it. Kind of feels like, okay, yeah, new beginning for something, another year. But it's also this day that I always hope for something, the same thing, for years. And that's just to get to spend it with someone that, someone. And not just like friends or something, but someone that I like in a relationship, or just the prospect of one. Like, I would love to spend, a little bit of time with Alma. Just in general, the things that I would really like to do with someone, like, a lot of times it involves just sitting somewhere and talking. Like being out here, watching the Milky Way, or the meteor showers, or at the beach, or just anywhere really, just talking and having a conversation about something real. Really connecting with them. Not just like the, hey, how are you? What do you think about X? How's work? That kind of stuff. The stuff that actually matters. Something's making noise. Sounded like an animal. I'm gonna go on a tangent here a bit, but Tuesday of this week, I had replied to a story that Alma had posted, and we've been sending some pretty decent length messages back and forth since then. At least I responded Friday night, but she hasn't responded yet. I saw that she had seen it, but today, my today, because I'm still awake from yesterday. But it was really nice, and I had considered if I should say it or not, and I remembered the be me, so I kind of just went with it. I told her that I really like I've had this observation before, I just haven't shared it with her, that I really like that we get to talk about real stuff. We have conversations about actual things, like things of depth, the things that I would like to have those conversations with someone about, ideally in person, because I don't know, there's just more of a connection there, I feel, having that emotion and like the tone of voice and all that. But yeah, it was just really nice, and I through the course of our conversation, I also mentioned that kind of that feeling that I've had. I didn't tell her that it was pretty much from the holiday party, but that she's going to do something really awesome, and that I'm really excited to see what it is. I don't know, I feel all over the place. Like, my mind is so much focused, like, it's either her. Okay, maybe I should talk about that too. So, I had a dream last night, Friday night, that the only part I remember was that she was dating someone that was in the army. And just the entire time I felt like crap. Like, yeah, I want her to be happy. Like, even if it's not with me, but I'd still really like it to be with me. And I think right now the thing that just kind of stings about that, I know it's just a dream, but like, I think it's that. I had another dream that was something very similar, and then, you know, having seen her on Tinder before, just, it gave me that feeling of like, I'm not good enough. I know I'm not supposed to think that way. I know I'm supposed to, you know, like, I'm valuable, like, I matter. I matter even if someone else doesn't see this value in me. But it's hard to help. And I know I hear, oh yeah, it's child Eu-Jin saying this, but there's a part of me is like, I don't care, just kick him away, and just kick away the person that's bringing this up and mentioning it and making myself aware. I feel like today, like the last 24 hours or so, I've really just kicked myself down. I feel like I'm starting over again. Like, okay, I was making this progress, and now I'm back at the bottom again. It just sucks. You end up feeling really defeated, and I know one of the things I was supposed to do was drink that whole bottle of water, the whole 21 ounces or 24, whatever it is, the white bottle that I have, and just do that for myself, to take care of myself. And I keep failing at that. As simple as that is, I keep failing at it, which is just even that much more demoralizing. I don't know, just the thought that keeps swirling in my mind right now is just being alone again. Still. I mean, like, oh yeah, I could do something with friends for my birthday, but in theory, if I want them to come over, parents aren't going to be happy, sister won't be happy. Like, it's not necessarily something I should be doing. I've just never really felt like I can have people over. Uh, I mean, I did go over to Nate's the other night, Friday night, but I don't know. It's just like I feel like there are a lot of people in my life that aren't really friends, but I've kept around because I'm afraid of being alone and afraid that I'm not going to be able to make more friends because I haven't had the best luck with that. I haven't had just me in social situations in general just doesn't seem to go well. Um, all this stuff is just as my mind is thinking of it. Uh, today, yesterday, Saturday. I know there was a time around lunchtime. Um, I was down there and I had said something, and then like a minute later, my mom asked me the same thing that I had just said, and I got really angry. And I think having been thinking more about just the past and like what led me to where I am, um, that's happened a couple times recently, and it's just kind of almost kind of triggered me. Um, I just get annoyed because it's like, okay, they're not listening to me anyway. I mean, Dad pretty much never listens. He'll ask a question and then doesn't really pay attention to the answer, or if I tell him something, he's not really paying attention anyway. I think that's why Alma stood out so much, was that she listened and she asked those questions where no one else does. Um, I keep going to my emotional Vicodin, emotional painkiller of her. And I think that's why I have such a hard time going, getting past her. I was thinking about it when I was driving out here that maybe part of the reason that part of the reason that maybe part of the reason that I have trouble moving on past someone is that there's a part in my brain that is trying to convince myself that if I can stick around and, like not move past this person, it will somehow show them that I really care. I mean, I genuinely do care, but somehow there's that thinking in my mind that somehow I can prove it to them that, like I'm who they need. Which is, as I'm saying it aloud, there's definitely part of it that seems dumb to me, but there's a part of it that seems very rational in my mind. Kind of going back to the talking or the like interrupt the thing with the parents earlier. Um, when I came down for dinner, I had talked to Cherry before that, and we were talking a bit about the birthday and just kind of the same sort of stuff that I was talking about here. Kind of how the thing that I want, like, it's so dumb because it's the same thing I wish for every birthday, every Christmas, every shooting star that I see. I just wish for that other person. It's been, 22 years that I've been looking out of almost 30 that I've been alive. 22 and a half almost. And I still haven't found them. All this time, still haven't found them. Just so you know, there's a truck coming, so it may get loud for a moment, but it's gonna go by so quick I'm not gonna bother pausing. But yeah, maybe I'll just pause, that way I'm more coherent. But yeah, so always wishing for that same thing, for that person that's gonna care, the person that's gonna matter, who will value me. I know with my depression, there was a point, December 28th, 2018, was going to be the point where I had spent more time depressed than not. Luckily, March 13th, 2013 was the last day. But that December 28th day was going to be the day that I wasn't going to be depressed anymore. And now that I look at this, more than 22 and a half years of failure out of 30. This sucks. Like, yeah, I've made some friends. I've heard a lot. It's part of me that just wants to give up. I realize the pain isn't quite the same as the pain that I dealt with for depression, but this one's been a long time. And it doesn't seem like anything is changing. Anyway, I went on a tangent there, but yeah, we had talked a little bit, Cherry and I had talked a little bit about some of that, and it got me kind of emotional. And then at dinner, I was still angry from earlier, and I was on the verge of tears the entire meal. And when I went up, I couldn't cry. I gave myself the space to, and I couldn't. And I went back to playing the game to distract myself. And then I started driving to come out here. At a couple points during the drive, I cried a little bit, and it still wasn't enough. Like, I haven't gotten that out. The entire way out here, I've felt like I've been crying the entire time. The way my head feels, the way my chest feels, the way my throat, all of it, the entire way. At what point do you stop trying? Stop caring? And this, too, like, I feel like I had made so much progress. Therapist, and and just on myself, I feel like I lost it all. I feel like I'm back at the beginning. Like I have to start fresh again. And that hurts too. I know 2020 has sucked in a lot of ways for a lot of people. It's definitely had its downsides for me. It's had its upsides too. Probably more upsides than most, but it's still a painful year. Every year I hope, okay, next year will be better. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't know how to fix me. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to keep myself going. I know I need to be there for myself. I need to value myself. I need to love myself. I know I find examples, very likely just confirmation bias, but things that support the idea that I'm not good enough, that I'm not worthy, that I don't matter, that I'm a burden, that I shouldn't be here. And those things constantly feel like they outweigh the why I should be, why I matter. I'm trying to change that thinking, but there are days like this where it feels like everything comes crashing down. And I don't know what to do about it. These are the days where the thoughts of what I might do down that way just a little bit come back. I know food ends up being kind of like a reward or something to help. Yeah, go get ice cream, get this, that, and that doesn't help with this, which doesn't help with the self-esteem, which doesn't help with anything. And it's like, I feel like every time I fall, I don't have that person to be there. I show up for everyone else, but never feels like anyone shows up for me. There are times that they do. But never consistently. I know I should show up for myself. I should be there for myself. I'm fighting right now between the depression me and the me that existed before then. It's not easy. The me that's existed since then I think has been around and in the spotlight and in control longer. feel like when I started this, I had so much more to say, but right now I'm just, I don't know. I know tomorrow I'm gonna go to work. Well, not go, but I'm going to work, and just gonna treat it like any other day. Probably gonna work super late. I'll do anything for my birthday. Just distract myself. I mean, Nate brought it up when I was at his house on Friday. This probably means other people find out, but it just sucks. I don't know. Maybe I just want to be looking for the bad. Maybe I want a reason to fail, to not be here, maybe I'm looking for that confirmation bias. That thing that supported what I've known for all these years. I don't know what else to say. Happy birthday to me.